Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good.
It is 10:01. We had about 40 people registered. I'm imagining there are going to be a few people that are going to log in along the way, and that's fine. We can just keep going. But I'm Joey with the Greater Beaumont Chamber of Commerce, new member development person there, and reached out to Rebekah not too long ago and said, hey, you into doing a social media class and talking a little bit about Facebook? One of my favorite subjects that I know nothing about. And she said, I'm all in. So if you're like me and you can post, you can give it a thumbs up, just the general stuff, but you don't really know a lot more about it. This is going to be a great class for you. And if you do know quite a bit about it, and depending on the skill level that you've got, you're still, I'm sure, going to walk away from this meeting with a lot of good information. So the way that the meeting's going to work for about 40 minutes or so, Rebekah's going to go through a presentation and just basically take you through the beginning to the end of Facebook to try to maximize it for your business during this time, help you keep your customers that you've got, and hopefully gain some new business. New money is what makes it click for you every quarter. And so that's what we're really going to try to do, especially during this time. So hope everybody's healthy. Hope everybody's doing well. And thank you so much for logging in this morning. After we're finished with the meeting of about 40 minutes, there's going to be a Q&A. So be writing down some of the questions that you've got. And after we're finished with the meeting, we'll field those and get you the answers that you need. And depending on your skill level, if you need additional help, outside of the meeting, we can definitely make that happen either through, well, it's not going to be me, but I'll go ahead and volunteer Rebekah and anybody else that's got the skill level to be able to answer your questions at the end of this. So I want to introduce Rebekah Maxwell. She's with ReStep Marketing. She's really good at what she does. And if you need any marketing advice, any marketing help, she definitely would be willing to help you out. And so you can get in contact with her. I can shoot you the contact information if you want to reach out to the chamber. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to make sure, does everybody have your worksheet handy? Got your worksheets handy?
Got it.
All right, good. This is going to come in super handy. So Rebekah, go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you, Joey. As Joey mentioned, we're going to have Q&A towards the end of this presentation, and we're also going to use the worksheets that you've kind of worked through, hopefully, even if it's just a few bullet points under each question, that's great. I'm also going to put in the chat, just put in my email address, so if you have questions after this workshop, then feel free to reach out to me. Give me a couple extra days during this time to answer you back. We may be able to set up another discussion if you need it, but email's kind of blowing up lately, so just give me a little bit extra time to respond back. I've also put in the chat a link to facebook.com, so they have a help section that actually goes through some explanations, differences between a personal profile on Facebook and a business page or a group. So if you have some additional questions, that's a great resource that's directly from Facebook and can be a great help if you have other questions that we may not be able to cover everything today. A couple of housekeeping, since we're all getting used to using Zoom and other types of online meetings. If you would keep your mic on mute for the first part of the presentation until we get to Q&A. You can also use the raise your hand option on Zoom. If you have a question that comes up, you can feel free to use that. So, and we'll get started. So as Joey said, my name is Rebekah Maxwell. I work with ReStep Marketing and have been doing marketing consulting here in Southeast Texas for about 7 years now. I graduated with a bachelor's degree at Lamar University in business and then went on to get a master's degree in international marketing from the University of Strathclyde. So when I moved back to the area after my master's degree in marketing, I started reconnecting with some business individuals and started talking to smaller businesses about how to use social media, because that was what really my dissertation really focused on. And there seemed to be a need for smaller businesses who maybe didn't have their own marketing department or own individual within the office to handle social media. They weren't really sure where to even get started. So just started talking to businesses and said, well, I can help you out with that. So today's presentation is going to focus on Facebook for beginners. So if you have been using Facebook for a number of years, if you've already created a business page, this may be pretty elementary for you, but we can certainly answer some questions later on. We're going to do some hands-on work actually creating a Facebook page and going through some just kind of common things to be aware of. So I'm going to share my screen with you and go through a couple of notes on a PowerPoint here. Okay, can you see my screen okay, Joey? I'm not hearing you yet.
Yes, we can definitely see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can see.
Yes, we see
Okay.
the PowerPoint.
Good deal, thank you. So I want to take a step back for a second. When we talk about social media, we immediately start thinking of marketing, right? We want to take a step back and remember that marketing is actually a part of your overall brand. Okay, so from American Marketing Association, the name, term, design, symbol, anything featured with your business is part of your overall brand. Okay, so experiences people have, images, ideas, etc. Your logo goes into how your brand is defined, as well as the interactions you have online. And this is also even the face-to-face interactions we would typically have and Southeast Texans love, but unfortunately we can't have right now. So when we think of a number of famous brands we're generally familiar with, ideas may come to mind. Coca-Cola, Disney, usually people think about entertainment a lot with those types of organizations. Amazon may be changing now and people may be thinking about toilet paper with Amazon because everyone's in need of that and ordering that online. But also quick, prompt service, and then they've branched out to a number of other services now, along with video and music and such. So it's important to think about overall when we're using social media, we're wanting to impact the brand and spread awareness of your organization. So a couple of things to think about. When you're interacting online, you want to think about who your intended audience is. Okay, are you reaching out to other businesses? Are you reaching out to potential customers in the general public? What age group? Those types of things. If you are building your content on Facebook, you want to keep that in mind so you know who you're trying to reach out to. Because depending on who that audience is, they're going to react a little bit differently. So what's your other things to do with your brand, such as perception, how you're perceived in the community? Maybe you're a new business that's getting started. A lot of people are looking at becoming entrepreneurs with the current climate. So trying to think of new business ideas. So maybe there is no perception because you're new. So you're having to build that from scratch. Also what you value and how you want to position yourself in the marketplace. So how do you think of your target audience? Again, when we're talking about Facebook, typically this is starting to get a little bit older of an audience. Younger people, teenagers, maybe even people in their early 20s are branching out to other platforms. So typically we're thinking of 25 and older using Facebook. We do see people still getting on Facebook later on because so many people, so many families, businesses are still utilizing Facebook as a social media. So who are you serving? You're going to serve other businesses, you're going to serve general consumers out there in the population, maybe both. And what do they look like? What's their age? What are they interested in? And what are their expectations for your business? Okay. So when we think of some brand attributes, just to think of some examples, these are some ones I like to highlight because these businesses are involved on social media in a number of ways. And if you look at them as examples, you will see they typically, their posts follow what their brand represents. So even thinking about Starbucks, you know, they're trendy, they're not afraid to experiment with social media and kind of do different posts and things like that. And then of course, Facebook is its own social media. They tend to be dramatic and depending on the situation, but it does bring people together in a social sense. So those are just some examples so you can start thinking about your business and what attributes do you want associated with your business? Because as you're creating content, you're being able to kind of build that brand awareness. Okay, I'm going to skip over this a little bit because this is kind of sums up what we've been talking about overall. So you've got an idea of your brand, you know what you want to represent, identify some of those key values and how you want to be perceived in the marketplace, and then how do we turn that into marketing? Okay, you want to keep those things in mind as you build your materials, as you build your social networks, if you're using, you know, obviously Facebook, since that's what we're talking about today, and even how you train your employees so they're clear on what your brand represents. And staying consistent with that, whether it's online, using other types of marketing such as TV, radio, events, emails, all of that should really tie back, and you should be able to be known as a particular business. It shouldn't, someone shouldn't receive, you know, an email that looks completely different than what you do online. You want to have some consistency, even though you tailor those depending on the platform. And keeping in mind with Facebook, it is a great opportunity not only to raise awareness for your organization, but also to market events, interact with sponsors, show off sponsors. If you happen to have an event, you partner with other organizations or other partnerships you have, and then also showing appreciation for staff and other volunteers if your organization happens to have volunteers. Okay. I'm going to kind of skip over this because we've kind of talked about that already. So creating a Facebook page. Today we are talking about Facebook pages, and it's very important to make that distinction. As a business, you do have to interact as a page. You do not want to have a Facebook profile. The way you can tell the difference is a profile is something I have as an individual, and you have to request to be my friend. A Facebook page for a business or organization is where you go and like that organization. So that's the key difference. Facebook actually, according to their policies and procedures, you cannot have a business represented as a Facebook profile. You have to have it represented as a page. And if they find out that you are using a personal profile for a business, they will actually, if they, through their processes, they have identified some of those, and they will actually make you convert that into a page. Let's see. And I'm seeing some questions come across. Yes, Tyler, we can share this PowerPoint whenever we share the recording of this. Okay. With Facebook, we typically want to be posting at least once a week. For the businesses I work with, it just depends on the type of business and how what we have going on. At least once a week, or excuse me, once a day, Monday through Friday is typically what I'm posting, and then we may do more. You do want to be careful of posting too often with Facebook. Some research shows, depending on the size of your page, so if you have, say, a couple thousand people who follow your page, if you post much more than twice a day, you can start losing engagement. You can think of it as the person who comes on and knocks on your door. You know, a couple times a week, it's great to see them, but if they keep coming and knocking at your door every single day, 3 times a day, you're probably going to get tired of them, and you're probably going to ask them not to come back. So Facebook is kind of similar, especially with the way they do their algorithm. Other social medias are different. So if you have questions about that, we can talk about that outside of this meeting. But typically for Facebook, you're looking at 5 to 10 times a week is a good consistent time. This is surprising for a lot of people. The most engaging posts are only 40 characters. Okay, so 40 characters, that's not a whole lot. That's why photos and video have become so important online. And if you think of it, let's see. Good morning, I hope you have a wonderful day is 46 characters. Just to put that in perspective. That's not a whole lot of time to engage with people. Now, most of my posts where I'm working with businesses, we do go over that 40 character kind of recommendation, but I typically try to keep it under 280 characters for sure. That's a good kind of rule of thumb, similar to Twitter. Okay, So we're going to talk about creating a Facebook page. What you need is you need the name of your business. You really want to have a logo, or if you are an independent sales associate with an organization such as, for example, Mary Kay, maybe instead of a logo, you could use your own, a nice picture for yourself, because you're really the face of your own business in that respect. You do want some kind of a photo that can be used for a cover photo on your Facebook page. And then you want to know some basic information about your business, kind of what you plan to do. So I'm going to still share my screen, and we're actually going to go in here and we're actually going to create a business. So let me back up actually. So if I'm just at my own Facebook page, when I log in, you do have to have your own profile set up. So this is me. This is my real profile. Now this is I am logged in. So if any of my friends pop up with something unusual, I hope they don't. But usually they're pretty good. But if something like that happens, that's not my fault.
Rebekah,
Yes.
we can't see. I think. Do you have your browser open?
Yes.
We can't see it.
Okay. Let me exit that out and reshare here. Okay, can you see it now?
Loading. Please hold. Bingo.
Fabulous. Okay, so this is my own. You do have to have a personal profile set up. So you have to have a profile set up to create a business page. The reason Facebook requires that is because if you think about it, they want to know who is in charge of that page. So they want to know if anything's posted that is against Facebook's policy, they can tie that back to me, Rebekah Maxwell. So I am an individual that they know who has control. So if you're creating a Facebook page, just up here at the top, when you log into Facebook, there's this create button. So we're going to click on that and go to page. You can do a number of different things on here, including events, groups, all of that. And I should mention, if you are new to Facebook and perhaps your business is something like the Mary Kay distributor that I mentioned earlier, you may want to start out with a group and just kind of get to know how to use social media in that respect and build your audience in that way. But we're mainly talking about creating Facebook pages here. Okay, so if you have a business, that's what we're going to focus on. So here on the left, we have the option for creating a business. If you were going to start a page for a public figure or nonprofit organization or another type of group, then you would want to start it off usually with the community or public figure. But we're going to do a business. And the reason for this is Facebook has a number of templates set up, and so they'll get you started in the right way. Facebook has done a lot of changes to where they try to make it as easy as possible. So we're going to create a business here. We're going to call it Rebekah's Deli. Oh, if I can spell. And let's see. So they have a number of preset categories, and you just have to get it as close to your business as possible. They do update this occasionally, but depending on your business, it may be hard to find, especially if you're in a particular niche market or like a manufacturer of a very specific product. But we're going to keep it simple and say Rebekah's Deli is a restaurant. I live at 1234 Beaumont Street. I don't actually live there, but for example. And then we'll put in the state, and we'll see if it kicks me out because I didn't put a real address or not. Now, something to keep in mind, if you are an independent distributor and you do not want people coming to your home, you can say, don't show my address. You just want to show the city, state, or the area that you're in. That's very important. So I, as a consultant, I work mainly out of my home. So for my own business page, I do not show my address. For a restaurant, you would want to do that, but we're going to just say not to right now. You can always go back and change that later if you end up moving to a business office. So it's going to load here. And right now, so adding a profile picture, this is where you would typically add your logo. So I'm going to skip that for now. Oh, excuse me, hit the wrong button. I typically encourage businesses to use their logo as their profile picture, because that will stay consistent with your business name. And then you can also add a cover photo, and that's where you would typically do this. This cover photo is the larger photo, if you're familiar with Facebook, that shows at the top of the page. And it's great to have if you want to show examples of your product there, or if you're in the service industry, then you may just want to have a nice stock image or a picture from an event or something else that represents your business. As long as it's clear, it's not too pixelated, and it's clear to see. You can also change your cover photo really whenever you want. I usually recommend you leave your profile picture as your logo, and then you change this cover photo whenever you want. So now we have a page. It's going to give you prompts as you're creating a Facebook page, which is great. We're not going to worry about those right now. It'll invite you to invite all of your friends to like this page since it is new. But something I want to show you that usually helps give some people some encouragement and kind of calms them down whenever it comes to creating a Facebook page, especially if they're nervous about it, is up here at the top. So you've got all these different options, and we'll go through some of them. We won't have time to go through every single thing because there's a number of things that are here, but we'll go through some of them. So something to keep, so the very first place I went to, so when we had a Facebook page created, the very first thing I did was go up here and say, I want to edit my page information. And since we are doing this live, it's going to take a second to load. So got my page. I'm going to go up here. You can either go to settings or edit page info. I'm actually going to go to settings first. And up here at the top, it gives you a section that says page visibility and page published. And I'm actually going to edit that at first. And I'm going to make my page unpublished and save changes. And the reason is Facebook wants to know, why am I wanting to unpublish this page? Well, I'm not done with it yet. So since this is brand new, I'm going to say page isn't finished. I'm going to add additional content, etc. So now my page is unpublished. This means people, the audience on Facebook, cannot see this page. So if you're a little bit nervous about setting up a Facebook page and you think, well, it's going to be put out there and then it's not going to be done. I don't know really what I'm doing. This is the first thing you want to go and do. You want to unpublish that page. That way you can go through, play around with the page, update information, and then when you're comfortable, you can go back and actually publish it. So next, I'm going to go over here to edit page information. And at page information, it's going to be a number of different things that you want to complete. You want to fill this section out as much as you can. Some areas may not relate to your business, and that's fine. But the more information you have on this page, Facebook recognizes it as a real business and will push it out to more people. So your description, we can say Rebekah's Deli offers variety. And I'm just going to make up some stuff. But you can do a short description of your page, telling people just kind of what you're about. Keep in mind, you do have to limit this to 250 characters, which is not a whole lot. But you can always go in and edit that if your business kind of changes a little bit later. You want to scroll down, make sure all of your contact information is correct. If you have a website, that's great. If you don't, you can simply say my page does not have a website. It really will give you options for saying if your page doesn't have a phone number, etc., don't have an email address. You can update all of that later if you're still setting some of those things up as a business. I've even seen some businesses actually will have a Facebook page before they even get their website complete, because it's just usually pretty quick and easy. If you do have a street address, it's important to list it on your page, because it'll put this great map feature. So if your business is if your business is such where people need to come into your storefront, you have a brick and mortar area, then this is very important to have. And then obviously, if you're a home business or you want to hide your address for whatever reason, maybe you offer services like if it's a children's and women's shelter, typically they don't want people coming in to their place of business or their organization. Opening hours. This is something you want to make sure is up to date, especially in the current time with COVID-19. So I've seen businesses changing and updating their hours quite often. So you can give no hours available if you want them to be able to only see you on appointment. If you're 24/7, great, or you can put in the actual hours that you're available. Impressum is actually, this is actually only specific to certain countries. Most businesses here in US don't have to worry about it, but it's a legal statement that's actually required by other countries. So that's why that's here. Typically, businesses here in the US, especially if you're a small business, you don't have to worry about that. And then price range, depending on what your services or product may be, then you can select what your price is. For Rebekah's Deli, we're going to keep it modest and say, you know, we're a little bit more expensive than McDonald's, but we're not a 5-star restaurant, so we'll put it there. And then if you had a privacy policy on your website, this is a great place to put a link to that privacy policy. Since we're not taking payments online, I'm not going to worry about that for this business. So settings are a little bit more up to date. I can go back to my page and see that those changes have taken place. As you make updates on your page, it will typically update, as you update your information, it will typically update on your page. I'm going to scroll down, and it usually comes up here on the right for a lot of that general information. Since I don't have any people liking this page and it's not published, it's not going to show up right now. Now, another thing you want to do when you're setting up a brand new page is we're going to go back here to settings, and we're going to actually set up a username. And I should make a note. Facebook is recently going through an update, so I'll switch over to their new update profile now that they have. So things, if you go in and create a new page, some of the things may have moved around a little bit, which is okay. Generally, the name of the different sections and things like that will remain the same, but some of where it's at may have changed. So when I go back here to settings, there's a number of different options that are here. You want to scroll through them and kind of check and see if there's something that really stands out to you. You don't have to mess with every single one. Something that's a big one is typically visitor posts. So people may want to have more control over their business. I usually encourage people to allow visitors to post to the page and allowing photos, videos, and all of that. I don't always review posts by other people. If you're a pretty strong business or nonprofit organization that has a good audience here in Southeast Texas, you typically don't have to worry too much about reviewing every single post. But if that makes you more comfortable at first, you can certainly do that. I typically encourage people to allow visitors to post to the page because that's really the point of social media. I know some people who immediately want to go and say, well, I don't want anyone to post at all. Well, then it's really just a one-way communication, and you're not likely to have you're not going to have any engagement, but it's going to be really hard to get people to follow and really interact with your page, which is typically what businesses are looking for by having a Facebook page. So we're going to allow visitors to post to the page, allow photos and video, because that could be great, especially if you're selling products. If they're posting pictures using your products, then you could always share those. Or I'm going to give you an example later about Beaumont Community Players. It's an organization I work with. If people post pictures of coming to the theater, that's a great thing. We love to share whenever we're able to. So I'm going to leave that. No changes were made, so we don't have to do that. You can narrow your audience if you want to put in you're looking for particular people. You can certainly do that. Sharing my stories is on. That's where people can share Facebook stories. People can certainly message my page privately. I want to allow that, especially some people will actually message any kind of concerns or issues they may have. So allowing people to contact my page privately is great because it allows that communication without it having to be public. If you, for some reason, you didn't want to allow that, you can certainly uncheck it. Tagging availability allows people to tag your page in posts, which is great. I want to allow that. I'm not going to go through all of these. If you had, services or products that could not be sent to certain countries, maybe you want to limit the country, your other countries, but we typically don't have to worry about that here in Southeast Texas. Now, something you may want to do, depending on your organization, there is a profanity filter, which is kind of interesting. So if you, especially for religious organizations, they typically set this to strong so that people cannot post things that have profanity in it. So sure, I'm going to say I want to keep that strong. And along the way, if you're looking through any of this and setting up a page and you have a question, let me go back. A lot of times Facebook will create, it's not letting me go back. Here we go. A lot of times Facebook will have these question marks. If you're not sure what a setting is, you can just hover over that question mark and it'll give you more information about what that particular setting is. So Facebook determines what to block by using the most commonly reported words and phrases marked offensive by the community on Facebook. So if, again, a lot of religious organizations will end up using that, or some nonprofits, depending on what their brand really is. Let's see, anything else? So something else to keep in mind. Down here at the bottom, it says merge pages. If you happen to have a business that you work with and say they had, over the years, they've had different people with marketing, and they've actually created a number of different Facebook pages. If that has happened, then you can actually, if you are an admin on all of those different Facebook pages, you can merge them into one. I've had to do that before just because people forget passwords or they don't have access to the old Facebook page that was used years ago. If we can get access, then you can actually merge duplicate pages. Or if at some point you decide to close your business or you start a new Facebook page and start over, you can always delete your page. You do have to follow a couple steps. Doesn't happen just automatically, but if you wanted to, you could delete the page. Okay, so we're still in settings, and this is the general information. The next thing I want to show you that can be very useful is page roles. So here on the left of settings, I click on page roles. This is important, especially if you're a little bit larger of a business and you may have employees change positions within the company or leave the organization. You want to make sure you're keeping this up to date. I typically encourage a business to have at least 2 administrators on a page so that if something happens to one of them, you can still have access to your page. And then if you have someone like a consultant come in, you could always add them as an editor or some other role, depending on what access they need. So here at page roles, you can do a number of different things. You can see that I'm an admin on this page because I'm the one who started it and it's brand new, so I can manage all aspects of the business. If I wanted to add someone, like say Joey is going to help me with this business, so I'm going to find Joey Armstrong. I don't know all of these Joeys. If you just start typing in the name, it'll give you a lot of options based on who you're friends with. So you see a lot of different mutual friends, even if I'm not friends with this person. But Joey and I, Joey Armstrong with the Chamber and I are friends. So I'm going to say yes, I'm going to add Joey as an editor. So then I have to type in my password again to make sure I want to make this change. And he will now receive an invitation to edit that page. Now I added Joey as an editor so he can publish content. As you can see in the description, he can send messages. He can do pretty much a wide variety of things as an editor. I do not want him to have access as an admin because this is my business and I own it. If I give him access as an admin, he could actually remove me as an administrator. So it's very important to keep people you trust as your administrators. If I'm working with a business as a consultant, I actually request to be added as an editor. That way, the business has the security knowing they still maintain the administrative role within the business. Sometimes I do request to be an administrator for a certain period of time if I'm making some major changes to the page. So that's an important area to be aware of and make sure you're staying up to date with. I've seen, unfortunately, a number of businesses that someone leaves the organization for whatever reason, it's been years, and then no one else is an administrator, and then it's trying to get back in contact with that person to update the page. So this is a good point to have on your offboarding process. If someone decides to move on to a different organization, this is probably part of the exit interview that you want to make sure you get access back for your Facebook page. And again, a reason, typically encourage people to have 2 administrators. If you're a one-person shop like myself with my business, then I only have 1 admin because that's the business, and that's fine. So that's your page roles. Now I want to go to page information also. We're still in settings. Now we're going to go to page information. And this is another setup option that I typically like to do whenever I'm first creating a page. No, actually they moved it, hold on. Oh, I don't think I can do that actually until I publish. Let me go back to my About section. So when you first create a page, if you'll notice, I'm pretty sure I have to be published before I can do this. Up here at the URL, it gives you facebook.com, Rebekah's Deli, and this long string of numbers. And the reason there's a long string of numbers is because I don't have my own unique username yet. And I typically encourage businesses to set this up. You have to have a published page first. So we'll go ahead and publish it. Page is now visible. I'll take it off a little bit later. You may also have to, years ago, you had to have like 50 likes before you could create a username. And then they dropped it down to 10, and I thought they had deleted it. Let's see. Okay, they haven't. So after you get to, I think it's 10 likes, under your Facebook name, here it's Rebekah's Deli, an icon will pop up showing username, and you can edit that. And when you do, I typically keep it close to the name of the business, and then it will remove this string of numbers. And it gives validity to your Facebook page, and Facebook will pick that up as more of a legitimate business. Now you've got at least 10 likes, and then it'll post to more people's news feed. So as soon as you can, you want to be able to create a username. Okay, so that's the basics of creating a Facebook page from the beginning. We're not going to go through all of those different features. Tyler, thanks for liking the page, buddy. Some support there. We're not going to go through all of those different settings. You can review those at your own time, and you can certainly email me if you have any questions about a very specific setting. Something I want to do now is actually look at your worksheet. So if you want to pull out your worksheet that we sent you by email, The next, after creating your Facebook page and having that all up to date, the next thing people usually get concerned about is, what do I actually post on my Facebook page, right? So Rebekah, I've created this beautiful page, but I have no idea what to do. So if you want to unmute yourself, and if anyone would like to either unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat box, I'd love to hear what you said for what's your organization's main focus and services. Would anyone like to throw out what they have there?
Real estate.
Real estate. Okay. Well, obviously, Kevin, right? Let me actually, I'm going to share, hopefully. So now I should be sharing that document that we had sent you for your worksheet, right? So, and again, I'm terrible with spelling when people are watching me, so I apologize. So real estate. If you have at least a couple of different bullet points under each of these questions, then you've got your content halfway created. Okay, so real estate. Kevin, is mainly residential, right? Or do you do commercial?
Yes. I don't advertise commercial, but I do mainly residential, correct.
Okay, so we want to that's a good thing to know, because you want to mainly focus maybe your Facebook page on residential, and then you maybe every once in a while you may want to highlight your commercial services as well. So did you know that we can sell your home? And then Kevin may have, is it Kevin Reed with, is there an E at the end?
REED.
Just, okay, no, anyway, so kevinreed.com, or you want to put in, may want to put in your phone number, right?
Sure.
So we've got a Facebook post already. Now you can take that and edit it all different ways. You can get creative. You can show pictures of maybe a home you just recently sold, anything like that. Who else? Let's see, I thought I saw a chat. But since I'm sharing my screen, where did my chat go? Here we go. Member financial care. Oh, Bob, gotcha. Monuments and memorialization, financial care, health balance sheet, personal growth. Okay. So how do you serve others in the community? Typically that can be similar to your main focus or services, but there may be some differences there depending on your business. So member financial care. Bob, tell me a little bit more about that. How do you provide member financial care?
Hi there. Yeah,
Hi.
just by, was that an answer in number? No, that wasn't an answer in number two. You know, by providing different products and services and advising people on how to use those to better their financial circumstances.
Okay, so there, you just answered my question. So do you want to improve your personal finances?
Yeah, that's good.
We can.
That works.
Yeah. We can help maybe find options for you or solutions.
Yeah, I got to be careful. Lori Higgins will kill me for speaking up.
Oh, gotcha. Well, this will stay between us. I'm not going to publish this anywhere. Okay, who had some answers or bullets for number two? Maybe that's a little bit different.
So I answered it, but I answered it as how our business serves our community, I guess, in like the volunteer side of it.
Okay.
Because we have our employees, or we, I guess, allow our employees, if they want to volunteer, like with the ROAR program, and they are paid on the clock when they go to do that. So they're going out and reading with the kids, and then we're also a business partner.
Okay.
Homer Drive. So I guess I viewed that as how we serve our community in a different sense.
Great, that's great. And that's actually something a lot of people will forget about. They see their Facebook page as strictly a way to sell their products or services, but in reality, you don't want to be selling 100% of the time. You want to show ways you're involved in the community and not just be a salesman all day, every day. So that's great. So we could take business partner with Homer Drive or the ROAR program and turn that into a Facebook post. I would maybe say we are proud to serve Homer Drive Elementary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I'm still there. Tree as a business partner, and then you may want, if y'all did an activity recently and were recently on campus for
Easter program or whatnot.
Yeah, what was that?
I said Easter program.
Okay, that's great, for their Easter program. So there you go. And then you could even link back to, if Homer Drive has a Facebook page or a website, you could link back to that or show a picture. Now, one thing to keep in mind, since we brought up elementary schools, is if you're going to be showing pictures of children under the age of 18, you do need permission from the parent or the school. A lot of times the school automatically has that built into their system to that parent sign saying, you know, they can share pictures and that sort of thing. So if you get it from the school, that's fine if they have the proper permission. If not, if it's a public event, then that's okay. Like if it's an event they're going out to, like Lamar University or something like that, that's typically okay. But if it's at the school, you want to avoid any identifiable features. So you can show the back of a head or the back of a classroom is typically what I do if I'm in that situation, where no one's face is identified, no names, but then we get a nice picture. Okay, somebody else. What qualities do you want your people to associate with your business or organization? Someone else want to chime in here?
I'd say that we are honest and caring.
Right.
About helping them build their business. This is a new business. It's a home-based business that I'm trying to get started and set this up for.
Okay, great.
And there's a lot of team building to help them get started, and a lot of caring people.
Okay, so this brings up another way, another type of content we can create. So if we want to show that we're honest, we care about people, especially in helping build a business, this is where you can actually search for, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing that screen. And I'm going to share my web browser. Okay. And I'll actually, sometimes if I'm trying to find content to post, going back to your brand. So Gary, if you're wanting to show that your business helps people build a business, you're honest, you're caring, that sort of thing. It's not just about what services you're providing, but you want to use your Facebook page as a resource of information. That way people start seeing you as an expert within your field, right?
Right.
So you may even want to search for like Inc.com or other types of business organizations will have articles that you may want to use. So let's say team building articles here. Let's see what pops up. Now you want to make sure it's related back to your business and still follows the tone that you want to set. So you want to make sure you read any articles that pop up before you post them. But why team building is the most important investment you'll make. This could be possibly a good article. Now this is from 2016, so it may be a little bit up to date, but we're going to use this as an example. So let's say, Gary, for example, we read through this article and we say, you know what, that's a great article, and it highlights some points that we really agree with and want to focus on. Let's see. So keep positive energy going at the office. Now yours, I know we've talked a little bit about your business, so I know that may not be exactly
Sure.
But we can come in here back to my Facebook page. So I'm going to copy this URL. I'm going to paste it into a post here. And what will happen once it loads, it will actually show the link for that article. It's just taking a second here. And if I was Gary, you know, found this article spot on and highlights, and my computer's taking a little while. Positive energy in the office, the importance of positive energy in the office. Now, since we're linking back to that article, that's fine. Some, you know, you don't have to. I've heard some people say, "Well, can I do that since that's not my own article?" Yes, because it'll actually link back to Forbes.com. So you're not stealing it. You're sharing that information, and that'll actually be good for Forbes because it draws people from your Facebook page back to their organization. So that could be another way of finding some content. So as you can see, even through just having bullet points to start with, you already, if you filled out this completely with at least a couple, 2 or 3 bullet points under each question, you can take each of those bullet points and actually create content from that. So I'm a little bit over the time that I originally had planned on, so I want to move on to questions now. So I'm going to stop sharing. So if you have any questions, whether you want to unmute yourself and ask, or let me go over here to chat. And Bill, I see, okay, Bill, if you've got some time after, I know I didn't use yours as an example, so after this webinar ends, if you want to hang around, we can go back and use some of these chat options you said as an example. Tyler asked earlier, do you know how long it takes for a new role to be added? As soon as the person accepts that invitation, then it will be updated. So it's almost instantaneous as long as the person's online. Does the page...
Okay, so
oh, go ahead.
Sorry. The reason I asked is, so we were setting up our page, and one of my coworkers created it, so I asked her to set me up as an admin, and she sent me a picture that shows it as pending to me, but I haven't received it.
Okay, so you didn't receive an invitation?
Right.
Did she send it to your email address or to your Facebook profile?
Let me look and see.
Because if she's, you can type in an email address, but if she
That
used
might be
the wrong
best
email, it may have gone to spam. Or,
yeah, no, it looks like you did it through my Facebook page.
okay, then I would delete that and try it again, because it should send you an invitation to accept that. Joey, did you, if you want to hop on your Facebook page and see if you got that invitation from me for the fake business I just created, and we can see if there's any delay. Typically it's instantaneous.
Okay.
But if not, Tyler, let me know and we can maybe go and dig in a little bit deeper. If I'm working with a new business, I'll go in, take in my laptop, and we'll add me right there in the office, and usually that's how we do it. So I'm not sure why it would be taking a little bit longer. Let's see.
I had another question. What about, like, if you have an old Facebook page for your company that was set up, like, I think we have a page that was set up in 2011, so I have no idea who the admin or anything is on that. How do I go about, like, getting that deleted?
You may be able to get it deleted. Let me share my screen again. And I'm not actually going to go through with this because I don't want to delete it. Typically, if the Facebook page hasn't been used for a long time, sometimes you can report the page to Facebook, and you would do so. So I'm at Beaumont Community Players. This ellipsis here, these 3 dots, that's where you can, if it hasn't been used for a while, you may be able to report it. Let's see. That's where it used to be.
It might be because you're an ad on that page.
Yeah. Yeah, let me view it. So this actually brings up another good point. So you can actually view your page as a visitor if you ever want to just go in and look at it and see what other people see. This can be a nice tool. So it'll give you this warning. Page looks different as a page looks like it would be to a visitor, and then you can switch back. It's going to take a second to load. While it's loading, Bill had a question on the chat saying, do you have to create a page, a business page, through a personal profile? Yes, you do have to have a personal profile set up before you create a business page. And again, that goes back to Facebook being able to track who has access to that page, and be able to know who to, hold responsible if something is being posted on there that's inappropriate or whatever. It's just like your business, really. So your business, you have to be an individual before you can create a business. So kind of the same thing on Facebook. I know that makes, yes, sir.
When you approve people's, to put videos and post, to your page, are those things that you get to view before they go public, or does everybody just automatically see them as soon as they start posting and putting those videos on?
You can select for posts to be approved by you before they show up on your page. So if you want to do that, you can.
Okay.
And that's under settings.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to do that, let's see. Yeah. So Tyler, here now it's loaded. So under those three dots, find support or report the page. You can try to do that. If you know who the admin was, I had to do this with the business last year. We had to go back to someone who hadn't worked there for like 5 years, but they still had access to it, and they actually worked with us. It was a positive separation. They got a job someplace else, and they were very happy. So they actually worked with us, and we got access to that page, and then you can merge the two. So let me switch back and go back to settings so you two can see. We can actually cover both of those. So I know we're coming up on the hour. So again, my email was at the top of the chat. So if you need to log off and go on to something else, I completely understand. And you can certainly email me if you have any other questions. But if you have time with my computer loading here, I'll show you that merge option. And Gary, I'll show you the where you go and set up that option to approve posts.
Okay.
Let me close out some of this because it's
While we're waiting for that to load, when you're doing a merge, let's say that it's an old page and you've lost, username, password, or whatever, or it's just for whatever reason you want to get it and you want to merge it in. Do you have to have the password, the username to the other page to be able to merge them?
You have to be added as an administrator on both pages.
Okay.
So in Tyler's situation, where they assume it was probably a previous employee who set up the page and maybe no longer is there. So if you're able to ask them to go in and add Tyler as an administrator, so he's administrator on both pages, then he would have the authorization to merge the two. Now you sometimes, I haven't had to do that for about a year. And at that time you had to wait 7 days. So you had to be an administrator on both pages for 7 days before it would let you merge them. So do be aware of that. Sometimes there's a time delay. And y'all, I don't know what is going on with this not loading. Any other questions that come through? I'm trying to look at the chat too.
Hey, Rebecca, I have a question.
Yes, Susan.
So we have a Facebook, I had an IT consultant build it, and I'd post on it and maintain it. And so sometimes when I post something, and I will add a video or a photo, whatever I'm posting, and and then I hit share and it goes out, but it doesn't save to my page. You know, it won't be on my page, or it might show up a day later. I have to get out, get back in, and I was just wondering what the problem was with that, maybe.
Is it posting on your business page, but then it's not showing up in your news feed, perhaps?
Well, it's just not saving when I post it. It's not, you know, it's not there. It just goes away. I don't know where it goes.
I'm not sure about that. It should post. So if you're, so I'm still on my browser.
Maybe a day later, when I go back into Facebook, a day or two later, there it is. But I don't know why it, you know, goes away.
Okay. So if I'm back to that fake business that I created, and I have created this post, and I click post, it should publish on my business page right away.
Right, and it used to do that, and then all of a sudden it just quit doing that. Kind of like when it made all those changes, you know, and
yeah, I haven't seen that happen. So maybe we can connect off this, and I can look at that business page, because that's very odd. I haven't heard of that happening. You can schedule posts,
right,
which is a great tool, and that will be posted later, but I haven't heard of a post not showing up immediately. So that's odd to me. So Susan, if you can put your email in the chat, or just so you can chat it directly to me,
I will,
to everybody, and we can explore that a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to Gary and Tyler's questions. So this is on Beaumont Community Players. So this is their true site. So we've got the page roles. So Tyler, you'd want to be as an admin on both of the pages you're looking at. And then, let's see. I'm sorry, y'all, that my internet's running a little bit slow today. I don't know what the deal is. It decided I'm doing a presentation, so it's going to play with me. I have actually, I gave a presentation a couple years ago, and I had gone through, I had taken screenshots and had a PowerPoint, all this wonderful stuff. I was going to go to Facebook at the event live and go through a couple of notes, and Facebook ran an update the night before the presentation, and I got a notification about it. So I look, and I have to go through and change all of my screenshots because they moved things around, and then I had to like frantically try to figure out where everything was at, since they had an update, and I was like, no. Presentations at like 10, it was about the same time frame in the morning, so I was frantically changing everything. Terrible. But you gotta love technology.
You gotta love someone that loves technology too.
Yeah.
They are our friends.
I agree.
Amen.
My son is blessed with that ability, but he's not always available, so we make new friends. Hi, Rebekah.
I'd be happy to help you out, Kevin. I'm going to close these other tabs I've got, so maybe that'll help. And I'm going to have to remember to go and delete that. No, I don't want page information. I want edit page.
So somebody else talks to their computer too. Oh, I thought it was just me.
Yes, I do. As long as I'm not throwing it out the window, we're good.
Well, it don't talk back to you. It just don't respond quite the way we like it to.
Yeah. This is just staying stuck at page information. I don't want that. Let me go back to my new page I created. So Kevin, you asked a question in the chat. Anything we can do that would increase our consumer views if we post daily? So a couple of different things, and this kind of gets into, there's a lot of great resources online and some research that's out there. Facebook is an interesting animal because, there we go. Facebook and Google, you know, have the notorious algorithms that they're people are changing regularly, right? So
Right.
Facebook doesn't show up on our news feed the way it used to. It was based on the time that you posted and all of that. Now we can see things from days ago because of people interacting with it. So a few things that I have found to be really beneficial and found because of doing some research is asking or posting in the form of questions actually improves engagement, and actually giving people action items in a post helps. So for example, and if you can use pictures and video across, anything online nowadays, you usually get more engagement if you have a picture or video.
I
But for
agree.
for an example with the question or actually asking people to take an action step in the post, I've worked with one business who's a doctor's office for a couple of years now. And initially we would do birthday announcements. And so we would just post a picture of the employee and wishing a happy birthday to Kevin Reed or Kevin Reed's wife today. Hope they have a great day. We changed that about a year ago, and I started posting it as help us wish Kevin Reed a wonderful birthday in the comments below. And our engagement has gone through the roof with those posts, because even if people don't know who that person is, since it's a happy, feel-good celebration, and you're telling them, you're giving them an action step. Help us wish, and you're telling them how to do it. Help us wish Kevin Reed a happy birthday in the comments below. People are more likely to go on and leave a comment. And then they may also, we've actually had some posts that it has more comments than it does likes because people have an action step. Or asking things in the form of a question. So earlier I was, when we were kind of playing around with content, trying to form things in a question at the beginning of the post helps people engage, and it draws people into what you're posting. So those are some key things that I've used a lot over the last year. And then depending on the size of your page, if you are Disney and you have millions of likes and followers and all of that, then you can post pretty much as you want, because you've got so many people you're reaching out to. It doesn't really matter if you're bombarding too many people, because they want to see it, and it's a very engaging company. If you only have less than 5,000 people who like your page to start with, then you typically want to limit your posts to about twice a day, and you want to spread those out. So you may want to do one early in the morning and then one later in the afternoon, and that spreads it out a little bit so you're not bombarding people who may like your page, and it's not things just right on top of each other if you can help it. Now, having said that, there may be situations, if it's a special event, there may be situations that you do want to be posting all day for a particular event, or this particular situation with COVID-19, a lot of businesses are posting information as it comes out. So that's just the situation we're in, and you want to stay up to date. But typically you'll see engagement start to drop off. If you have less than 5,000 likes, you'll start seeing engagement drop off if you post more than twice a day. That's just generally speaking.
Hey,
Okay.
Rebekah, we had
Yes, sir.
Debbie had to leave the meeting, but I wanted to go ahead and get the question in. It's in your chat. She can come back and look at the recording later for the answer. Right above Kevin.
Okay. Right above Kevin. We have a manager at one of our offices recently retired due to health. The page for the office is on her profile. Can a new manager create a page for the same business on his profile while the other page still exists? Yes, you can, if you absolutely have to. I typically avoid doing that, just like with Tyler's situation. If you can get access to that page and you either merge them together, or with this particular situation, they already have a page built. Now, I'm curious about when they say on their profile. I'm wondering if they actually have a business page set up, or if they accidentally set it up as a personal profile. So I'd have to dig into that. But if it's set up as a business page, the best thing to do is to get access to that page. But if you have no option, that's completely impossible, then you can set up a new page as the same business. You can do that. Going back to, okay, Gary, you had a question about publishing on your page. So I should be sharing my screen still. And we're at settings. We're under general here for this new business I'm creating. So if you click on edit for visitor posts, I'm allowing visitors to publish posts to the page, and I'm allowing photos and video posts. If you want to review those before they're published on your page, then you would select this next option that says review posts by other people before they are published. And then you would just save that change.
Okay.
It depends. Sometimes if you start getting a high volume of people posting to your page and it's all positive and you really don't have to worry about anybody, you may want to remove that feature and just let them go. It just depends on your particular audience. You do want to monitor that so that if if you get a troll on there, you can take it down.
If you get I'm sorry, if you get someone who, like, just some idiot that just keeps getting on there and just being crazy, can you block that one person?
You can.
Okay.
You can. Let me show Tyler a section about merging pages, and then we'll go back to your question about blocking people.
Sure.
Okay, so Tyler, we're still on settings, we're still on general, and just scrolling very down to the very end. If you're that admin on both pages, again, you can merge pages, and here you gives you the option of merging duplicate pages. Okay, if you go to do that, it can be a little bit scary because you're going to be deleting one of them, and people get scared of making sure they delete the correct one. And it's gonna, let me see if it'll let me. You typically have to be, the pages have to be pretty similar. Sometimes Facebook will give you an error. If you're, like if I'm trying to merge Rebekah's Deli and Beaumont Community Players, it's gonna be like, what are you doing? That is not the same business. And it's gonna take too much time to load. So if you get access to both of those, Tyler, and you want help with that, just let me know. I'm not going to go through the step here because it's taking so long to load.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to a couple of people I think might have been in charge of that Facebook page, but we'll see.
Yeah, and if there's just no way to get access to it, I would go on and report it to Facebook, and it should give you the option of it's been a while since I've done that. I think it's like, this isn't the right business, or the person who has ownership of this doesn't represent the business, or something like that. So yeah, you can go on and report it. It may take a while for it to come down, but you can do that. Okay, let me make sure. I don't think I see anything else in the chat. So Gary,
yes,
when we're back at, we're back at settings, and we have all these options over here. When you click on people and other pages, and I have had to do this, unfortunately, we had just someone who seemed to be trolling a business and leaving random weird comments, and then got inappropriate and even a little bit hostile towards a staff member at the business for no apparent reason. The person wasn't a customer or anything like that. So, so we did have to ban them. So Tyler's the one person who likes my page. So you can click on him and you can either ban him from the page or just remove his like. So if I wanted to ban Tyler altogether, I could certainly do that if he's being inappropriate in any way, which I know Tyler would never do. Or if it's someone you're just not really sure about or unfamiliar with, you could just remove them from liking your page, and then I would monitor it and see if they came back. Chances are a lot of times people will like a page and then move on and they don't even remember they liked it. So if you remove them, they won't notice. But if they are a troll, then you can certainly ban them so they can't have access to the page.
So when you remove a user, the like, is that one instance and then you just try to move on, or does it remove everything that they've ever done on your page?
No, it typically, if you ban it, I think it will remove or hide the comments. If you just remove them, it'll remain. If it's public, a public post, then it will remain on the page. So if you did, now this page isn't going to let me because I don't have any public comments yet. Let me see if I can go to Beaumont Community Players relatively quickly. If you, I'm careful with banning people for the main reason that if I know someone doesn't really like my business for some reason, if I ban them then and they get really upset about that, they may start bashing my business on their own personal profile. And there's nothing I can do about that. It's just like facing negative word of mouth that we all deal with as business owners because someone takes a situation, doesn't share the entire story, doesn't share both sides of the story, and then they tell their friends, right? So it's the same type of situation. So don't get too caught up in that if that happens. If I allow people to continue to interact with my business, it gives me two things. It lets me know when it's happening. So even if it's a negative comment, I am aware of it and know what's being said. And then two, it may allow me to address the concern with the individual. And I've actually had experience where someone left a negative review of a business on Facebook. We private messaged them because it was miscommunication. We private messaged them and, you know, explained we didn't realize this was an issue. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Here is the phone number for a manager. We would like you to give this person a call or give us your number and we will call you. And that manager reached out, kind of worked through what the issue was. It was purely miscommunication. Someone didn't understand something. And they ended up changing their review from a 1-star up to a 4-star review and changed their comment and said, I had an issue. They reached out to me, resolved it, and now I'm very happy. So that was a win, a huge win for us. And we've had that happen once or twice where we took the initiative to update. Oh, Tyler, you had to bring in the baby. Too cute. So as you what?
Baby!
Baby! I know, sorry, squirrel.
Squirrel. As my wife says, frog.
Whoa!
Okay, so
you
you
get that excited about my cat. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Hey, I brought a duck.
Sorry.
Yeah,
All right, this is spinning out of control as always.
yeah. So if you had somebody leave a negative comment or something like that, so we're back at Beaumont Community Players since they've got some interaction here. If someone's left a comment, this is a positive one, but you can't, there's these 3 dots, the ellipsis that shows up to the right of the comment. So you can click on it. Now, if it's something, we actually have reported a comment before because they left a very threatening comment to an individual for no apparent reason. So we actually reported that once. But otherwise, you typically just need to hide or delete it. So I choose, if it's something that's, I really don't like, but maybe the person's true opinion, I will sometimes just hide it so it doesn't show up. If I were to do that, let's see if it'll load very quickly. If you hide it, people can see that there's a hidden comment and they can click down and reveal it, but they typically won't pay that much attention. So if it's something you're not really sure, you want to delete it because you want to respect someone's opinion, but you're just not a fan, you could just simply hide it. Or you could delete it, especially if it's anything vulgar, racist, any profanity, anything like that. You can certainly delete anything like that, and I encourage people to do so. And if there's several like that and you delete several, then I would even go in and leave a comment as the business on that post and say, hey everybody, we've deleted a few comments because they're not in line with our brand and how we want to be represented online. Please keep in mind, you know, this is open to the public and we want to keep it professional. So you can delete and do that.
Good.
So this is not loading. So any other questions? And I'll go back and unhide this one because that was a positive comment that was left. Now there are a number, keep in mind there's a number of things we have not covered today just because we were keeping it very simple, basic. You can do paid advertising with Facebook. You can do scheduled posts and a whole slew of different things, adding action buttons and things like that. So if you have questions, you can certainly send me an email. My email address is listed in the chat. I'm trying to just share free information, so it's not any major cost to you or anything like that. I'd be happy to just briefly talk to you if you have any specific questions like that. And if you get online, save my email, because if you get online and start playing around with Facebook and questions come up, you can certainly reach out to me. If I don't know the answer, I will certainly do some research and find it.
That's so awesome, Rebekah. Thank you so much for your time today. I know everybody got a lot out of it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rebekah.
Thank you, Rebekah. Thank you, Chamber.
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. We're going to do a few more of these webinars as we go the next few weeks. We're going to be talking about some branding. And I want you to remember, you know, Rebekah is just total class as far as not only a person, but as far as her business is concerned, and so community involved. And we have a lot of chamber partners that are just like that, and you're all on the call right now, and there's many more just like you. But when it comes to, you know, needing some help with Facebook, you know, talk to Rebekah, talk to some chamber partners we have out there. We have people who create videos that are really inexpensive, like Rebekah was talking about earlier in the meeting, that they you know, they work so well, video and images and things like that. So think about the chamber partners. Do a search in the chamber website for any kind of these services, or reach out to me, reach out to Rebekah, and we can put you in touch with some people. Thank you so much for being on this call today, and keep your eyes peeled for more as we go down the road. Hopefully we'll have you again, and we will be posting this webinar online, so you'll be able to see that, and we'll send it out to everybody who is registered, and make sure that you get a hold of that. Okay.
Great.
So with that, thank you again, Rebekah. That was awesome.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great. Really good.